Hello and welcome to another Monday Live. I am doing readings for you guys. Let me just organize my hair. So we are doing birth chart readings. These are donation based. I am going to pin the information in order to get your reading. You can send a donation. Suggested amount is $25. Once you do, you can either share your birthday information and the in the comments, or if you want your information to be private, you can email me at info@Anastasia-astrology.com or at Anastasia.astrology@gmail.com. Okay, let me see. I have gotten a couple of requests from you already. Let me open my notes. And if you sent a payment, do speak up, let me know. And let me know where you're watching from, what your rising signs are, how you're wrapping up the year. Are you excited? So for anyone who sent me a payment, even if you sent it a couple of weeks ago and I didn't get to you, speak up, let me know, because I would love to do readings for people who have sent me payments. Okay. And also, if you guys would like to get a recording of the webinar Rox and I did last week on the 21st, we did a breakdown of 20 plus minutes for each zodiac sign, talking about the most important events. You can find it in the shop on my website, Anastasia.astrology.com. Check it out. It's really fun. We had a great time, and I know it can be helpful for you as well. So I ask that you ideally prioritize one question, because we are doing, these are short readings. They are designed to, help you guys answer your questions, but answer, I guess, as many questions as I can. So we will prioritize one question at a time. Okay. So I see I have Lorena and I have KB. KB, you send me a donation twice. That is very nice of you. You can ask me 2 questions if you'd like. I see that you sent a Venmo, I think, and then you sent a Cash App just now. Is that you, or am I confused? Is it someone else? But yeah, right now I have 2 people. Okay, let me see what's going on, because I've been not looking at the comments and just looking at a bunch of other stuff. Okay, we have Aquarian 5 and we have Opinion Holes 4550. Opinion Holes, are you KB? And Aquarian 5, are you Lorena? Okay, so KB, Opinion Hole says I am. And Lauren, okay, Lorena. Okay, KB. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I was going to say ladies, but then I don't know. I mean, Lorena sounds like a lady, but KB, maybe a lady? Probably a lady? I don't know. Okay, so KB, I don't know if I have your information. If you don't mind it being public, I am a lady. Okay. If you don't mind it being public, do you just want to drop it in the chat together with your question? Lorena did send her information, and I see that she also shared it in the comments. So right now it's KB and Lorena. I have 2 people. And if you guys, at any point, whoever's watching, if you want to keep your information, and also just always email me. Probably better to Anastasia.astrology@gmail.com, but info@Anastasia.astrology.com works as well. Okay, so let me focus. And if you guys are just tuning in, let us know where you're watching from. That is always a lot of fun. Okay, KB. Let me put your info. into my app. Oh, you're a Valentine's Day child. How does it feel? What is it like to be born on Valentine's Day? You're like right in time. You were born right at the start of Valentine's Day. Are people good at giving you two presents, Valentine's Day and the birthday? You're saying I always get one gift. Born on the holidays like Christmas Day, January 1st, Valentine's Day, should always get two presents. I feel like if I was born, like I would demand. I would be like, I need a second present. Turn around, go get me another one. Okay, KB, what is your question? What are we looking at? I am going to share my screen. Aquarius Sun, Leo Moon, Scorpio Rising. And look at your beautiful, beautiful, magical Jupiter in Pisces. You're saying, as a Leo Moon, I just do it myself. As you should. If they can't get it done, get yourself all the presents you want. Moons. I just found a Leo Moon in my neighborhood. I noticed, I was thinking something today. It's like just a side note about astrology, but because I am born with Saturn in the third house, but in New York City, I have, I'm a Gemini rising. So Leo is my third house. I think in New York, I get to meet a lot more like Leo characters, and it becomes a lot more like fun versus if I was still in the place I was born, I think I would have had a more difficult time connecting with people in the neighborhood. KB, yeah, I guess it includes commercials as we go live. It shouldn't be too bad. You're saying I get a lot of cusp issues depending on the app or site that is used. I use whole sign house system. It is an older and more traditional house system, and it assigns the entirety of your first house. The entirety of your ascendant sign becomes the first house, and then the second sign after it is your second house, etc. I don't think I saw a question from you. Do let me know what your question is so I can start analyzing it and answering it. And for people who are watching, I do currently have 2 people on the list. If you'd like to get a reading, ask me a question, ideally 1 question at a time. You can send the donation. There is information and a link in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Suggested amount is 25. Once you send it, I will need your birthday information, date, time, and place of birth. You can either put it in the comments if you don't mind your information being public. If you do and you want your information to be private, email me. You can email info@anastasia.astrology.com and specify at the top that you want your information to be private. Common question, will I ever get married, is KB is asking. So it is a common question. I don't know if there is a very like easy, clear answer to it, but we can definitely look. I do wonder if I should pull a horary chart for that, but will I ever questions? They're just like a little bit tough, but let's see. I think I can probably give you some idea on what is going on here and what can be done. You're also, your 7th house is ruled by Venus, and your Venus is in Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So there could be delays. I think Venus and Capricorn, you have high standards and you seek a partner who is ambitious, right? Like she, they don't need to be a general or like already super accomplished, but they need to have some kind of ambition. With Neptune, you need to watch out for escapist people, artists, but like people who drink too much or do unhealthy things or non-committal. Like there could be blurriness around their identity. This looks like a poet or a musician, right? Someone who's like very creative, but Neptune makes things confusing. The ruler of the seventh house being in the third suggests meeting people in the neighborhood at like a local hang, dating people through your siblings, dating neighbors, or connecting with people in the neighborhood. So the good news here is we've had Uranus. Let me actually see if I can replace this chart with a different chart. So here's Uranus. We've had it in your seventh house of relationships since 2018. Has your love life been complicated since 2018? King Capricornio is appreciating the Capricorn Venus. Astrolofax says, hi, Anastasia. I made a video called 3D Astrology of 2026. It was a lot of fun to make. If you're interested in viewing it, may I post it in the comments? Yeah, you can share it. Why not? Okay, I also see a payment from Danielle. And KB says, absolutely. I assume you're talking about 2018 wreaking havoc in your love life. 2018 onwards. So the good news, this is almost done. You have until April 25, 2026, and then Uranus is out of here for 84 years. You're free. You're in the end zone. You're like in the red zone, right? I've been into football lately, which is sort of crazy. And Uranus leaving here is a good sign for getting married. And like there's nothing difficult about your Venus. You've got Jupiter in its domicile in the house of pleasure, parenthood, children. Jupiter sometimes suggests multiple children. Do you have kids? Or do you have creative babies? Let me also take a quick look at your progress chart to see what's going on there. But I think Uranus leaving Taurus should be supportive, especially if your love life was better, like leading up to 2018. Okay, progressed. What's happening in your progress chart? Progress chart is a timing technique that assigns every day after you were born to a year of your life. And the moon is in Aquarius. And in like a year and a half or so, it's going to conjoin this progressed Venus. So I feel like I see love coming. I think this suggests to me that there might be something quite exciting when this Moon Venus conjunction is going to happen. Let me tell you when. So early 2027. I'm looking. Mid 2027. So June 2027 is when the two are going to conjoin. And that could be potentially a very interesting romantic time. You're like, when I'm 40, got it. Yeah, 40. Funny enough, 40 is the year of the fifth house of romance, pleasure, parenthood, and children. Was 28 a good year for you romantically? Like when you were 28, was there anything fun going on romantically? Okay, you're saying no children and I don't want any in the future. Fair enough. Just my bamboo plant. I like your fiery sense of humor. This fire grand trine is coming through. You're like Scorpio with deep feelings, but yet there is all this firepower. Yeah, what was happening when you were 28 in your love life? What was happening when you were 30? Because 40 and 42 tend to be quite significant for relationships. And since I did mention 2027, and you said, so when you're 40, that could be very, you're saying it was interesting during that time. Yeah, I think that could be interesting. What else is happening? So we're going to have eclipses in Aquarius and Leo for a while, and then after that again 2027 they're going to start happening in Capricorn and Cancer. So I see, okay, 2027 I think is when it's going to happen, because eclipses will shift. So in 2026 we have, they're kind of split between Virgo, Leo, Pisces, Aquarius. And Pisces eclipse in the end of the year when Saturn is out of your fifth house can also be symbolic of maybe some relationship coming into your life, because that's already without Saturn, and Saturn, has cleared your fifth house. Saturn being in the fifth house since March 2023 also often suggests like a period where things are dry and withered and you're just hanging out with your bamboo plant potentially. But then it's gone in February, and that can sort of suggest that the pleasure becomes this becomes a more fun sector. And then I think in 2027, when eclipses start happening in in Capricorn and Cancer, that is potentially a significant, again, July 2027 is the first eclipse in Capricorn. So let's you're saying extremely dry. So I think your love life is gonna bloom. Again, it's really get married, right? But I think gotta be patient a little bit, and always advice is like work on yourself, right? Prioritize yourself, give yourself the love you need, because you're also born with South Node in Libra and North Node in Aries. And as a fellow South Node in Libra and North Node in Aries born in the same year as you, we tend to be very relationship oriented, and we tend to be very very aware of other people, and we focus so much on other people, and we could be like natural people pleasers, right? But North Node in Aries suggests that you first have to know yourself. You first have to like learn to say no, prioritize yourself, take risks, like say no to people that do not work for you, and then the right people will come around. Okay, that is what I have for you, KB. I hope this was helpful. Okay, next we have, and thank you so much for sending the donations to those of you that have done it. Hi, Elaine. Okay, Nell, is Nell Danielle? You're welcome, KB. Okay, so Lorena is next. Are you here, Lorena? I was filming YouTube videos today, so my hair is all down. And my eyes are all glasses free, contact lens holding right now. Okay, Lorena, I see you. There you are. Awesome. Let me put your information in. And let me know, wait, you said you sent an email. And the question, I see the question as well. Thank you so much for being very organized about this. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up your chart. And you're saying career and family home are the main topics. Are you looking at like what's going to happen in those areas? Are you trying to understand more generally? If you wanted to share more, that would be most welcome. Julianne 25. Yes, I currently have two people. I have Lorena and Danielle. And I'm planning to be live for like about an hour and a half, and I'm only 20 minutes in, so definitely still um still have space. Nell is asking, who am I asking? I was talking to Lorena about her question presently, because so the way the list is right now is Lorena and then Danielle. And for those who want to jump on the list, the donation information is in the description and in the pinned comments. Suggested amount is 25. And once you send the donation, you can either share your information in the comments if you are okay with your chart being public and me sharing it here. If you want it to be private, this way I won't show your information, you can email me. You can send an email to info@anastasiadoesastrology.com or anastasia.does.astrology@gmail.com. I am a Gemini moon, so I flip around sometimes. I suggest one email than the other, forgive me. But either works. And so once you do that, I'll pull up your chart and answer your question. Okay, so Lorena says, I see the Congo line in my second house and Saturn and Neptune going into my fourth. Wondering what that means. So actually, we're gonna do this. So is this correct for you? Aquarius, Sun, Aquarius, Moon, Capricorn rising? Lorena? Stellium in the second house. That's a lot of planets to have in. So having this many planets in Aquarius and in your second house suggests that you are very focused and like aware of your finances, and you always kind of, you're not someone who will likely let things like slip or you forget about paying your bills. I think this suggests that you're very sort of aware, and your possessions that you acquire likely reflect your sense of self. I think the sun in the second house will own things that are very personal, right? Like in your background, let's say you're on Zoom, people will see like whatever it is you're interested. Okay, my internet told that my internet went slow for a second, so I hope you can hear me. But I was saying, yeah, Lorena said 100%. I do wonder if your dad ever like cost you money or ever directed you in some kind of finance and the best for you. Because you do have a lot of focus on like the house of personal making money, but then the ruler of your house of partner's finances is in its detriment in the house of your own money. So it can suggest like the father, maybe you need to be careful with like the advice your dad gives you financially, or your partner's money come from you. It's almost like you own a business and your partner works for you, maybe. And maybe it's not the case at all, because you do have a lot of supportive planets next to your sun. So it could be perfectly happy. But that's just something that I guess I'd say watch for that. And maybe it's almost like your finances are potentially better than people in your life. You're saying not my dad, but my mom, who was the person of authority in my life. So she would give you financial advice or would cost you money, like not the best financial advice or would cost you money, I guess. Is she still alive? Is your dad still around? And your mom? So as far as, thank you, Julianne. As far as Saturn and Neptune, you're saying my dad is not, my mom is, she's 89. Okay. Okay, as far as, and feel free to ask me sort of clarifying or follow-up questions. As far as Saturn and Neptune going into your fourth house. So you've had a preview of this. Neptune went into your fourth house from March 30th until October 22nd, 2025. Saturn was there from May 25th, approximately, until September 1st, 2025. So what was June, July, August of 2025 like in terms of maybe family needing more attention, maybe there being some confusion around the family, maybe there being a need to take care of people? I've seen this show up in a few ways. Sometimes it can also relate to your property, where maybe you start to feel like you're longing for a better living situation, but maybe Saturn represents some kind of obstacles to getting there. Can represent, Neptune is about to go there on January 26th for 13 years. Saturn is going to go there on February 13th for 2 years until April 2028. And generally Saturn increases the amount of pressure. Saturn suggests that, you need to take care of your elderly mom more. There is maybe some kind of like just a lot going on, family responsibilities. Neptune can suggest like some disillusionment. Sometimes Saturn and Neptune is like together, they can represent bubbles bursting and some kind of, disappointment, maybe a sense of like you realize that people you relied on from your family cannot fully be like trusted, or you don't get as much support from them as you would like. At the same time, Neptune can inspire you. Neptune can inspire you to move to the sea. Let's say Neptune is connected to like ocean, right? So you decide that you want to, and Saturn comes in here and you're like, okay, let's work on making this dream a reality. You're saying June to July, my home life changed completely. Mom fell and had to be moved to a higher care place. First time ever she's not part of my home. Wondering what else can change. Yeah, this is, I'm sorry to hear that about your mom, but your mom is 89, right? And Saturn will be there for 2 years. And so if she's not doing super well health-wise, like I'm sorry to say that, but it could be about her passing away. And Jupiter is going to go into your house of death and birth and inheritance. And there's also going to start to be happening eclipses here from February 17th, actually. February 17th eclipse is about your personal finances. And then August 16th, or when is that? I was just looking at it. I think it's August 12th or 16th. August 12th, we have an eclipse in Leo. And and Jupiter will be here from June 30th for a year. So it can for sure symbolize that you might get some money through some type of like death and birth type of situation. And maybe there will be like Jupiter brings gains, but South Node also suggests that you are releasing some kind of karmic heavy weight and obligation. So you're saying, yes, I was told that. She actually told me she's weird. Well, you've got the moon in Aquarius, so your mom probably is very Aquarian in her nature. Saturn could be about that. Look back at what was happening the last time Saturn was in your fourth house, which you would have been in your early 20s, between 96 and 99. Bhavana, I was just thinking of you today. I was like, we didn't talk for a while. Did we say Merry Christmas to each other? I was like, I feel like I miss Bhavana. I'm like, we haven't spoken in a few days. Yeah, I was thinking of you. Sorry, Lorena, I got distracted. But yeah, think back on 96 into like very early 99. What was happening with family? What was happening with parents? What was happening with real estate? Because that could be somehow repeating, coming back. Okay, Danielle, see your payment. Thank you again. Adding you Let me see if you're not on my list yet. You're maybe on my list already. No, Danielle is on my list, but who else am I looking for? Wait, I think. No, I have Danielle. I think someone else said they sent a payment, but I don't see it yet. So I'm not sure what should I be looking for. Julian says I sent a Venmo. I don't see it. Did it maybe ask you for my phone number and then it didn't, like, because the last payment I see is from Danielle. Okay, Lorena says back in 96, 99, you moved to USA. Definitely a big change. Right. Okay. So change to your home, family, and living situation, and potentially some maybe sense like sometimes Saturn in Aries also represents feeling isolated and having to deal with some, because Aries is about like risk taking and independence, and Saturn can sometimes bring maybe more frustrating energy to like you're going on adventure, but it feels like it's isolating in the process. Bhavana is saying, can I also ask a question, or is it already full? No, I have okay, let me see. So I think I have 2 people right now. I should actually start marking. Okay. Julie. Bhavana, sorry, to answer your question, yes, I can take another person. And is Julie, are you Julian? And thank you so much for the donation. Oh, Julie N. Red Bull 96 MIG, is this going to be uploaded later? I missed some. Yes, but these are personal readings, and you can definitely watch it later. Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, Lorena, you're welcome. I feel like, my always sort of my thought with Saturn always, if you want for Saturn to be friendlier, right? If you're looking at this transit and you're like, oh, what is it going to mean? You can be proactive. There's always a way to bring attention to Saturn. Saturn is going in your 4th house of like home and family. And so if you want, every Saturday is the day of Saturn. You can volunteer. You can go to like, if there is some kind of, like even honestly, even spending time with your mom or spending time with elderly, doing something. Saturn rules people who are on the outskirts, people who are older, sick, misfortunate. So doing something every Saturday to work with Saturn can really be helpful because you're doing something good. Ideally, of course, you should do it not to just appease Saturn, but it can help. I've been volunteering for the past couple of years, and it's not like Saturn doesn't exist in my life. It still exists, but I think it's a good use of time, and you cannot go wrong by doing good deeds. So highly recommend. Do good deeds. I'm like, good deeds. But it's true. And my fiance started volunteering right before we got together, and he was kind of struggling and he was having issues with his work and a whole bunch of other things. And then, he started volunteering, and I was like, ooh, let's date. And his life just became so much better, obviously. Just kidding. Okay, so we have Danielle, and I have Julia. Okay, let me just update my list so I am on top of it, because I got a little bit confused in terms of what's going on. So if you emailed me your information and the question, Danielle specifically next, if you emailed me, then I'll find it. If you haven't, please share your information and your question. And if you haven't told me whether you want your information to be shown or you want it to be private, please let me know that as well, just so I don't accidentally show your info if you want it to be private. Okay. Okay, so Bhavana, see Bhavana as well. Thank you, Bhavana. So, okay, so the way it is now is Danielle, Julie, and Bhavana. Okay, Julie says I can show hers. Danielle. Danielle, are you here? Okay. Danielle, there you are. Nell, aka, okay. You're saying it can be shown what's my purpose in this next phase in life. I'm a stay-at-home mom, no career. Okay. And let me see. Did you put your information up above, Danielle? Oh, I see. Okay. I see the info. So that should be fine. And I got Taurus Sun, Sagittarius Moon, Cancer Rising. Is that you? Yes. Okay. So Bhavana says, so spending time with mom would suit the Saturn. I thought that doesn't count. I think if the mom is significantly older and is struggling, that would suit Saturn, like elderly. If your mom is in her 60s and she's doing well relatively, that might be like less. Like I think when you hang out with the older lady, Bhavana, that you mentioned, I think that is a lot more soothing to Saturn than, but again, like, yeah, I think it depends on like how the person is doing. If you're helping someone who is in a difficult place, then it's maybe more appropriate for Saturn. Okay, so Danielle is asking, what's my purpose in this next phase in life? I'm a stay-at-home mom with no career. Let's see. So Jupiter is currently in your first house of self, and North Node is in your ninth house, and it's gonna conjoin your midheaven very shortly here, potentially like within a month. And these two are interesting. So you are born with midheaven in the ninth house. The ruler is Jupiter in the third. What is your natal north node? Your natal north node is in Leo, of course, 1980. Okay, so a few things, right? North node in Leo, generally in life, suggests that you are here to connect with your star within. You're here to learn to take the spotlight and to get creative and playful and to allow yourself to be special. Because South Node and Aquarius people a lot of times have this very sort of rational, objective perspective, almost shocking opinions, right? Not because you necessarily want to shock people, but there is some type, like there's something to you that makes you stand out, like your mind, your sort of perspective. You can be very aware of the world at large, like thinking, why can't we all behave in accordance to like the laws, or why can't we all be sort of more thoughtful of each other? And North Node and Leo definitely suggest that generally you're meant to not just learn to shine, but it's also conjunct Mars, and it's also in the second house of personal finances. So I think it's not just being a star, but I think there's also a part to you maybe building financial stability. And doing that with Mars can suggest making money through like entrepreneurship, or through painting, or through like selling art somehow, or writing. Like there may be some kind of, some kind of like creative energy here that I'm seeing for you generally. And then, of course, Jupiter in the first house suggests that you're going through a period of reinvention. Jupiter entered your first house on June 9th, 2025. It's going to leave on June 30, 2026. And you get this Jupiter once in 12 years. So previously we would have had it here in 2013, 2014. And since it's retrograde right now, it kind of makes sense that you're being a lot more introspective. And the questions are about yourself, because Jupiter is in the first house. It's about like, who am I? What do I want? What makes me feel happy? What inspires me? I wonder if there is some kind of like learning, teaching opportunities that may be coming up for you right now. I find that when Jupiter transits the first house, people tend to go towards like they're seeking to share. There's some type of desire to like give back and connect with other people. And like I've seen people go and like trying to become a teacher. I've heard of someone who wanted to become a doula, which is also very much helping people. And then of course this North Node on the midheaven also, I feel like, tells to me that you are called to go on a journey. And journey doesn't have to be a physical journey, but can maybe suggest some type of like learning and exploring your dreams, and maybe taking risks. And Saturn is going to leave your 10th house in February, which should also, leave your 9th house, which should make it clear like whether you'd like to study something. But it makes me think that, there's maybe some joy that you can find in like education to your kids. Maybe it's, just taking time to like focus on teaching your kids things and like connecting with them. And some Julie says that's my North Node. Yeah, I am familiar. I'm familiar with you guys quite a lot. I used to have a roommate born in 1980, and my fiance is born in action. So what did you do, I guess, now, Danielle, what did you do before you became a stay-at-home mom? And are you looking at more involved with the world, or do you think it's more about like your children maybe? Because it can also be maybe about like being playful with your children. But also you're born with midheaven in the 9th, and that often suggests that you're meant to explore professionally, that you're not meant to be attached to one career path, that your career path is about learning and trying different things, and it's not something static. So that is also interesting, which can suggest that your pain can become visible to the world. Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like life coaching people, sharing your personal experience. I have a client's friend. She's born with a Sun Chiron conjunction in Gemini, and her son has developmental issues, and she's been an advocate for like that, and sharing things and going on social media and educating people about it. So I think a lot of times, like with Sun Chiron connection, there may be some type of like, you're also likely to be very sensitive in terms of like how people perceive you. But but on many levels it could be like it could be almost like good for your soul's growth to connect to your pain and to figure out like what has hurt you and how have you overcome it, and almost like share your personal journey with other people, I think. Miss Milado, is that you? Oh, right. You want to write a book. Okay, that is good too, because midheaven is ruled by Jupiter in the third house, and third house is connected to writing and communication. And so maybe there is this sense of empowering other people through writing. Miss Milado. Julie is like, yes, write that book. Yeah. So maybe, maybe that's what it would be. Like North Node conjunct Mars. Not only you're learning to grab the spotlight, but you're also learning to like take action, to go for things, to like be a risk taker, because Mars is something your soul is learning in this lifetime. And sometimes people with Mars North Node conjunction can be like, can take things too far. I'm pretty sure Lance Armstrong has North Node Mars conjunction, and he was like so competitive to a point of like abusing drugs and stuff, right? So don't do that. But I think there is something to like grabbing the spotlight and being visible. You're saying I love talking, but I have a hard time getting it to paper. What about taking a writing class? Would you be interested in doing that? Maybe that could be a good use for Jupiter. Like something where you can connect with like-minded people and work through things. Okay. Miss Milado, I see your Cash App. I think I already have a donation from you from 2 weeks ago. So so you've donated twice. So you are still on my list. We can, either answer 2 questions or keep saving it for the next time. I can answer your question today, and then answer more questions later. Okay, so right now it's Danielle, Julie, Bhavana, and Miss Milado. Sorry, Danielle, we just basically did. Danielle, unless you have any follow-up questions, I think that's kind of what I'm seeing in the present. You're saying keep it for support? Supper? Supper? Keep it for supper? Mike says, can I still get a reading in Anastasia? Yeah, I think you can, but after that, let me say that my list is closed just because we have a decent amount of people to get through. Oh, thank you so much, Miss Milado. I appreciate it. Okay, yes. So Mike, if you want to get on the list, you still can. Danielle is asking anything on love in my marriage. Well, just real quick, because I do ask to prioritize one question at a time, but let's take a look at it just. So, okay. So you have Venus in the 12th house, right? Venus in the 12th, as someone with Venus in the 12th house, a little bit of drama. Let's be honest, right? Venus in the attract people who Can you still hear me? I got another message saying that my connection is unstable. Okay, Mike, I see it. Thank you. Yeah, please tell me that you can hear me, because I froze for a second. Okay, you can hear, but it's breaking up. Hopefully it will stop doing that. So, okay, so Venus in the 12th may have had some kind of maybe, dramatic experience with the relationships when you were growing up. There might be, so I have a friend, a Cancer rising, Taurus sun, Venus in the 12th house, and like her parents fought a lot, and her mom would throw the father out. like there was a lot of sort of back and forward. And so sometimes if you've had experience like that growing up, Venus in the 12th can represent that you think that is normal. And so you kind of have to be aware of it always. You're saying, yes, lots of that. So you have to be conscious of it. And if you know that there's a part of you that likes drama, maybe there's a way to create healthy drama. Maybe there's a way to write that book, right? And put some drama in the book and live the drama through your book and through your stories instead of potentially dealing with it in a relationship. There are some really lovely transits coming up for love. January 6th, January 7th. And actually, a lot of like up until January 17th, Venus is in your house of relationships and she's making a lot of nice aspects. After we've dealt with drama in December, Venus was squaring Saturn. Venus is about to conjoin the sun. We're going to have, yeah, sometimes Venus suggests that it's harder to know what you want. Like it's harder to exactly understand what is it that you want, right? And I think that's been the subject of this conversation. Bhavana says your connection is breaking. Yeah, it gives me this message that it's breaking, but then I think it gets back to normal. So I feel like writing, expressing it, ways to sort of have some like healthy drama could be beneficial for relationships. So you don't necessarily like aware. Okay, I hope this is helpful. Let's keep going. Danielle? I am going. Okay, so Julie is next. Julie, are you with us? So, okay, so the list stands Julie, Bhavana, Miss Milado, and Mike. And Julie, I see your information. Again, thank you so much for the generous Venmo. We have a lot of Aquarians today, you guys. I feel like I've already done 2 Aquarians, and we have 2 more coming up. Look at that. It's an Aquarian kind of day. And yeah, so yeah, 2 Aquariuses and Danielle is a Taurus. So far it's all fixed signs party. Also just to check, Julie, do you prefer Julie or Julianne? Oh, but you say, okay, it's Julianne on YouTube, but you can call me Julie. That's funny. It's like right there. And I feel like asking it anyways. Okay. Okay, so you're saying, did you say it's okay to share your chart? But you know, my karmic purpose, there's a spiritual tug on me. And the last 15 years, I have been in survival mode. Any upcoming breakthrough for spiritual career path or karmic purpose? I don't know if I'm making. Yeah, I think you are. You're saying your rising is fixed. Danielle says, thank you. I hear this message exactly how I needed it. Okay, that is great. Bhavana says aqua power. Yeah, you guys are, maybe it's like, the moon is in Taurus right now, but maybe it's an Aquarian type of moon. Okay, Julie's fine. Mike, you can share it in the chat if you're okay with it being publicly shared. If you want it to be private, email me at anastasia.does.astrology@gmail.com and just at the top of the email say that you want it to be private. Okay, Julie says, I don't know if I made any sense. I feel some sort of spiritual karmic pull purpose. I have a rewarding career, but need more depth in my life. You're saying we channeled each other tonight? Probably. I mean, we are using right? I feel like Pluto in Aquarius is going to make it through. I mean, we're already pretty. Okay, Julie. Let me see. I am getting into the woods with all of the charts I have. I should probably clean it up a little bit. Okay, so is this correct for you? Aquarius Sun, Aquarius Moon, Scorpio Rising? Pavana says totally. I felt like I should join. Yeah, Aquarians interconnected. Okay, Julie says, yes, that's me. And what do you do for work right now? You're saying I have a rewarding career. So your midheaven is Leo, your north node is Leo, your south node is Aquarius, and the ruler of your career house is the sun in Aquarius in the 4th house. And a lot of Aquarian planets. And then Jupiter is now in the 9th. I'm just like, say what you see. You're saying I'm self-employed, 20 years, hair and makeup artist. That's pretty cool for Leo midheaven. I think that's pretty much like on point with Leo energy. And even self-employed, right? The ruler of your midheaven is the sun. So you're creating beauty. And okay, you're saying just feeling meh. What's next? What was happening in your career and work generally between April, May, June, July, August 2025? Because Jupiter right now is in your 9th house. It has been there since June 9th, and it's kind of encouraging you to question things. I think it's quite normal, and it's retrograde. And when Jupiter is retrograde, we tend to focus on inner progress and inner questioning instead of like outer progress. So going back to things you've been interested in, maybe things you've been interested in 12 years ago, things you've been interested in 24 years ago, the last time Jupiter was in Cancer, going on, what's the word I'm thinking? Going on like quests to faraway lands. I'm only coming up with the word in Russian, palomnичество, but I can't. What is the word in English? But it's yeah, going on a quest, traveling somewhere, studying, expanding your knowledge of self potentially, right? Could be significant. Jupiter does go into your house of career on June 30. But at the same time, on July 26th, South Node is going to enter, and you're going to be going through your nodal opposition, which is something that happens every 19 years. So, okay, another question for you. Besides April, May, June, July, August 2025, what was happening in your career and what was happening in your home life in 2008, 2009? The email is this. This. Oh, you found it. Okay. Julie says, I've been overworked and no vacation or fun since 2018. So that would have been Uranus going into your 7th house, which is less about work, but more about relationships, maybe partnerships, maybe business, maybe it's just a sign of things being a little bit more chaotic. You're saying 2008, 2009, I left the state. It was not good. Well, it doesn't need to repeat, but there is, I think, a suggestion of some of those similar themes in terms of like professional change and maybe change in the home of family coming up. Okay, so North Node in the 10th does suggest that part of your karmic purpose is finding this creativity in the career and being the spotlight in the career and taking risks professionally. The ruler being Aquarius sun in the 4th house, I think suggests that you can benefit or your career is connected to so so it will be a few things like Aquarius sun could be very interested, I think, in helping like your hometown. There may be maybe some kind of like I feel like the words are escaping me today. Some kind of like humanitarian energy, maybe, working with people in your hometown that need help. Let me see. Yeah, like anthropological, some kind of quality, like being interested in the world at large. Maybe you being a hair and makeup person fulfills the creativity, but maybe that means you're not fully acknowledging your Aquarian energy that also needs to do the work that helps others and the world at large. Yeah, okay. So working for like a large corporation or working for a home like having a base business is an opportunity here. Doing some kind of like sciency, tech research, helping like helping your hometown, doing maybe something to make the world a better place. I keep coming back. Community project volunteer. Maybe, yeah. Like what if your business is fulfilling and you're saying you have um you're saying you have a rewarding career, like it doesn't mean that you need to give that up. But I think we're also about to start having eclipses in Aquarius, and Pluto is in Aquarius, right? And I think and your south node is in Aquarius as well, so potentially this energy needs to be expressed. Do you work from home right now? Is your business like, are you working from home? I just think, and like, yeah, like North Node, pay attention to what happens in February when we have the first eclipse in Aquarius. Pay attention to what happens in July. Jupiter is going to go into your house of career, but also South Node. So it's gonna do this kind of interesting, like Jupiter brings growth and recognition and opportunities, but South Node cleans and purifies. South Node makes sure that you haven't gotten stuck in being a certain way, that you haven't gotten stuck in like fulfilling expectations of others, right? Like when you're working with other people, there's just so much of like being a therapist. I think when you're working with when you're doing people's hair and makeup, like they probably expect you to solve their problems. So maybe you're just tired of like, I don't know, playing a role of their therapist, and maybe it's time for you to find something that like also allows your quirkiness, your uniqueness, and your like Aquarian energy shine. You're saying I don't, but my God, I'm a homebody. If I could, I would, but I wouldn't want all those clients in my home. And you're saying, yes, I lose myself. It is definitely an energy sucker role, even though I'm successful. Yeah. So I think the next couple of years will be a lot about like if you're wearing this role and you're sort of making money by performing and by being this sort of Leo like warm character, are you also maybe not fulfilling some kind of like soul centered authentic Aquarian need? And I do, like you said, community project volunteer, I think that's the right direction to go in, as well as because Saturn is about to go into your house of health and work and service. And I'm a Libra rising, so I'm finishing it up as we speak. And I've had Saturn in my house of health and work and service for the last 3 years almost. So it can be very taxing. It can be very frustrating, and there might be a lot more work. And the way to work with the Saturn is, as mentioned previously, to volunteer, to give back, to kind of acknowledge, because Saturn is going into your house of sixth house is also the house of like sick and poor and people who are struggling with their physical health or other ways. So if you volunteer, if you find ways to connect with your community, I think that's maybe where some of the purpose will come for you. And you're welcome. I'm glad you found it helpful. Thank you. Okay, so Julie, Bhavana. I think Bhavana is next, right? Bhavana, and then Miss Milado, and then Mike. Do homeless people's hair? That is so interesting. That is really interesting because, yeah, let them feel like they can be taken care of as well, and use your skills for something that that feels more rewarding, maybe. Okay, Bhavana is saying, my question is, I'm going on vacation with my mom and I wanted to know how is it going to be for me and for my mom? Like, will it be a vacation with good moments or a time where it's going to be challenging? When are you going on vacation? Did you? I think you mentioned it before. Okay, let me also clean up some of my charts here. Okay, Bhavana, let me pull up your chart. (27th January till February 18th). Okay, so where are we now? How has December been, Bhavana, with Uranus squaring your sun and your moon? Has it, well, I feel like I know you've mentioned that it wasn't like the best month with things that were going on. So in January, Neptune, where's Neptune? Neptune is going to sextile your Venus January 2nd, but you're saying it's late January. January 16th, Jupiter is trining your ascendant. January 27th, Jupiter will oppose Neptune. That can make you feel like there's maybe some confusion and maybe somewhat unrealistic expectations of others. So I guess that is one thing to keep in mind. Don't potentially expect it to be completely rosy, because if you already know that there are some challenges in the relationship, I guess they can show up. Another thing with Jupiter Neptune opposition is that you might just sort of try to do too many things at once, or there might be some kind of tendency to, Jupiter is in Cancer, and I think it's urging you to connect with your, to be more aware of what's going on with your body as it sextiles your ascendant. But then the Neptune in Capricorn maybe is, like Capricorn makes me think of like the dude being dutiful and being like, organized and structured, and maybe being this sort of calm and collected warrior type of character. So I wonder if there is a little bit of, the screen is black. Camera seems to be off. Is the whole screen? Can you see me? Oh, now it's back on. I just turned it off. How about now? Can you see it now? Bhavan says December not so good, but the end seemed calmer. Yeah, I think in January there's mostly positive energy, and even early February looks pretty decent. Even when Jupiter makes difficult aspects like oppositions, it's still Jupiter, it's still the planet of wisdom, just having to deal with other planets' idea of fun maybe. So yeah, on the 27th it opposes Neptune. On February 10th it opposes Uranus. And Jupiter opposite Uranus can sometimes suggest that there is like either some type of like new ideas, maybe a desire to free yourself of restrictions, maybe like tell people to go F themselves if they're trying to control you. There may be like a desire to do things differently and express your individuality. All of that is at the same time, there are supportive aspects. There is Saturn sextiling your Venus, there's Saturn aspecting your Mars, no, Neptune aspecting your Mars. So I think mostly it's looking like a pretty decent time, but there might be a sense of just like what you would rather do, or like what is better for you emotionally, what is better for your peace, can be at odds with what you like have to do. Bhavana says, sounds like I'm gonna create some drama. Um, I don't know, but I think you may feel like if other people are trying to tell you what to do, you may just like not enjoy it as much, and maybe it's better from the beginning to set some kind of boundaries and express that like how much time you want to spend on your own, and kind of like let people know that you will need some space, and like don't be offended if I suddenly like need to go and be on my own or something. um yeah, but mostly I think there are some supportive vibes at the same time, because Neptune sextiles Mars on January 30th, and that can suggest that you're feeling more spiritual, more creative. Saturn sextiles Mars on the 14th, which means that you can kind of harness the stable energy of Saturn potentially, and maybe there's going to be some like athletic opportunities, or some opportunities to be like active and walk around or do some fun things. And even Saturn sextile your Venus on February 9th can be a time of like meeting new friends and exploring some social situations and going to social events and sort of feeling more at ease. So I think it's just maybe there's some going to be some like irritability or some friction between having to deal with expectations of other people. You're saying, yeah, I should do that. I'm not sure which part you're commenting on because I said a bunch of things. But I think all things considered, there are a lot of good aspects. And let me see. You are 33 right now, turning 34. So 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So 33, I think we talked about, it is ruled by Jupiter in your chart that can struggle with optimism. So I think Aquarius season beginning will be potentially a positive shift for you, because you're going to enter this year of like friendships and more, connecting with other people, exploring passions and dreams. So I think that's also a positive shift. Um, do I also see your mom from this chart? Well, only in regards of your moon being in Leo, so mostly you, less your mom. There's not a ton of aspects. Well, any. I keep getting this message that my connection is unstable. Yeah, I don't think I can see how she will feel during the vacation without looking at her chart. Was there any friction with your mom in December? Or any like surprising events at all? Or with your dad, with your family in general? Because I think you're out of the, I think there was a more challenging period with this, with like early December, but that also doesn't all, it can also be about just like your emotions. So I think it mostly looks like a pretty good vacation. I just think if you if you know that there's certain, one second, like if you know that there's certain issues that you guys deal with pretty regularly. I don't know what's happening to my voice. Okay. Now, it really actually had some nice time since 25th, but before I was more distanced with her. But it was probably more about your emotions, right? Because the moon also represents your emotions. So I think, yeah, okay. So I think the vacation is going to be overall pretty good. Just if there are any downfalls or any challenges that you know tend to happen, just try to proactively set some, like, let her know that you'll need some space so you don't get pulled in too many directions. And have a fun vacation. Hopefully it's a good time. Okay, I have Miss Milato. Are you still with us? I hope. So right now it's Miss Milato and Mike, our two final peoples. Pavana says, all right, thank you. I hope so too. Thanks. Are you excited about this trip, Pavana? Okay. Yay. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you are here. Is Miss Milato okay to refer to you by, or would you prefer I use your first name, or it's okay as Miss Milato? And also, is it okay to show your chart information, or would you rather it be private? Oh, and your email doesn't include the time of birth, so I also need that. Bhavana says it was very unexpected, so I'm a bit fearful to go on vacation, but let's see. Where are you guys going? And unexpected, does it mean like your mom planned it and decided that you guys are going to go on a trip? Is it okay to show your information, Miss Milato? Oh, wait, there you're saying it. I feel like I ask questions and then the next second I see it. Okay, you're saying yes, Miss Milato. Best, and yes to show the chart. Okay, awesome. And your question is just want to know what's going on with career and current transits, and career and current transits. Okay. So let me see again, 5:20 p.m. Oh, and you also said, should I travel for work in January? Where's my life headed with current transit with Jupiter and Leo in the future? Virgo Sun, Scorpio Moon, Capricorn Rising. Okay. So your midheaven is in Scorpio. And it's ruled by Mars in your 8th house, which suggests that, well, a few things, right? There is, I think, the moon being in Scorpio and Chiron here can suggest that you have like a healing energy to you, even if you don't work in a healing field, connection to the work that you're doing. I think your job is very social on many levels because 11 suggests that you kind of get to your career through with others or social media or a lot of interaction that's going on professionally. The ruler of the midheaven being Mars. So both your 10th house is ruled by Venus in the 8th, and your 11th house in midheaven is ruled by Mars in the 8th. I feel like I'm having flashbacks. I feel like we've talked about your chart in the past, right? And you probably have told me what you do, but I think it's like it could suggest working in finance, it could suggest working in a spiritual field, being like an artist who works with other people. That can also be like spiritual, healing, occult, mystical type of work. Leo definitely brings like creativity, I think, and things like working with other people, their money, their problems, their like resources. What do you do? Remind me. Aquarius affect me? I think it does because yeah. So okay, so Jupiter in Cancer going into Leo. So Jupiter goes into Leo from June 30 and stays here until July 26, 2027. Jupiter in Leo can bring an increase in like payment, commission, rewards, other people being more generous with you. There could be an inheritance. Your partner's finances can improve. It can also suggest spending more, like very much in line. If you make more money, you have to pay more money. Pluto being in your 2nd house, I think, is encouraging you to maybe take more like it can suggest a lot of professional and financial changes. Sometimes Pluto in the 2nd, so it went in there in 2023. It's going to stay until 2043, and it can suggest that you're going to go through a few professional changes. And that is also suggested, I think, by the North Node being here from July 26th. So we're going to have the first eclipse on February 17th, and then the North Node is going to go into Aquarius on July 26th. And so the North Node is going to highlight encouraging you to build. Maybe it can also suggest that you're like researching, you're looking into like dealing with the stock market, some kind of financial, maybe Jupiter brings rewards from other people instead. Okay, you're saying I'm an entertainer and get a lot of recognition, but I'm very low key at the same time. You're saying take more risks. Internet is cutting out a little. Is it still cutting out? Or did it stop? Sometimes I wonder if it depends on like what I'm doing in my app. Seems okay now. Okay. Thank you, guys. Oh, for some people it is, for others it's not, but I'm glad 2 of you are saying it's okay. Jupiter will bring, I think Jupiter will bring gains through other. South Node is going to make you question whether you are satisfied people see of you, because South Node is going to encourage, South Node is going to purify things. South Node is going to bring this sort of sense of like, yes, you get, you get recognition, also playing a role, right? For a lot of Leos and for all of us, there's going to be this sort of sense of like a lot of roles being diffused and disappearing, and like people maybe perceive a certain way and people have certain expectations of us. And the next couple of years with North Node and Aquarius will be an opportunity to like connect with what you truly want to be known for, your true beliefs, your true ideals, and express them. And some people will be surprised in the process. And there might also be a suggestion that come your way from exploring these like interests and quirks and going in new directions and doing things that maybe will shock people, not for the sake of shocking people, but more for the sake of being like truthful to who you are. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how Jupiter and South Node work together, because I think Jupiter is meant to expand, but South Node is meant to purify. So maybe there is some kind of sense that like opportunities come your way, but not all of them will be like, somebody offers to pay you like, I don't know, $20,000 for some kind of performance if you're an entertainer. But you realize that this is not who you are anymore, or this, person's beliefs don't align with your beliefs. So there may be a sense of like kind of having to rethink some things. And you asked about like taking more risks. I think Pluto in Aquarius can definitely be about taking more risks. And as it's going to oppose your Mars, which should also be quite significant, let me tell you when. Mars being the ruler of your house of career, that is going to be also, I think, important for professional transformations. Maybe some opposition that you're going to have to deal with. And maybe that's why you decide to go against expectations of other people. So Pluto opposes your Mars 5 times total. In 2026, it's March 30. So say March, April, and then June 13th. May, June. So March into June, early July. And since Mars rules the house of career, there might be some type of like something that's irritating you at this point, some kind of power struggles. Like either you're trying to get your point across or achieve something and other people are not helping you, or you're fighting with someone. There may be like a lot of sort of clashing and some kind of frustrating energy around that time. So that is something to watch for and pay attention. Specifically it's March 30 and June 13th, but these transits build up for a while. So even though it's like that specific day. Is my Mars in Leo bad in my chart? No, I wouldn't say so. I think Mars and Leo can sometimes suggest like fighting, some type of fight around legacies and wills and inheritance. But you also have Venus here, and Venus should help. So it's almost like there is some fighting, but there's also some agreement. Mars in the 8th is something you have to be careful that you don't take unnecessary risks, because sometimes there might be a little bit of like, I'm going to do this real fast, and then it's not always something that's going to pay off. So maybe that's also something that Pluto in Aquarius is going to challenge you with. Avoid get rich quick schemes is what I would tell you. And yeah, I wouldn't say it's bad. It's neutral. Mars in Leo is relatively neutral. You are born during the day, though, so Mars tends to be more temperamental in the day charts. So maybe it is like a little bit more difficult when it comes to fighting about money with a partner, or fighting for money, like fighting with your siblings about some kind of inheritance. There could be, and being maybe like risk prone sometimes. So I hope that helps. Lori, I am done for the day. My list is closed. I have one more person left, but then after that, I am pretty much wrapping up. Miss Milado says, feel like my sun in Virgo and Saturn in Taurus help me to be more balanced. For sure. I think it's good that you have like 3 Earth placements, right? It's basically you have a grand Earth trine between your Sun, Saturn, and your ascendant. That's a lot of earthy things. You're saying, and my sisters are fighting over who gets the will with my mom. You're saying that was pretty much spot on. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, I feel like it's like a mixed energy, right? Venus is here and she should maybe diplomat and problem solver, but Mars will definitely suggest some kind of fighting, and maybe people being very like ego driven and kind of like, I deserve this because blah 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 blah. So gotta watch out for that. And you're welcome. Yeah, of course, Lori. I try to do these every week. Probably, maybe not next week, but maybe I will, because it's sort of like New Year's. But I think I'm gonna do it next week as well. So I do them around this time. So if you wanted to join us next week or the week after next around the same time, I will probably be able to do your reading. Okay, and we have Mike. You're welcome, Miss Milado, and thank you so much for the donation. For the double donation. So generous. I appreciate that. Look at your Leo. Leos tend to have, I feel like Leos are always very bright and generous, like the sun. Like the sun in the summertime. Summertime. Okay, Mike, I think you said you have sent something my way? An email? Miss Milado says yes. Sun in the summertime. Indeed. Yeah, I have another friend client. She's a Leo sun, Leo moon, Capricorn rising, and she's very, oh, you're a Capricorn rising too. Yeah, so it's very I like that energy. And my 11th house of friendships is also Leo, so I feel like it connects with my friendship energy. Okay. So, Mike. Bhavana says that's true. About Leos? Your Leo moon is here too. I feel it, Bhavana. Okay, Miss Mulata says it's summer every day in my life. That must be really nice to be next to. Okay, Mike. Bhavana, yeah, agrees about Leos. Mike, is it okay to share your information? Also, Bhavana, why are you still up? Why are you still up? What is going on? I hope, well, I mean, like, watching my live is obviously a great reason, but I feel like it's probably very late over there, right? Okay, Mike says it's okay to share, just not the last name and the time, 1:43 p.m. Okay. Thank you for sending the time along. And I have Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, Libra rising. And the question was, just want to know if now is a good time to be in a relationship, currently in a 3-month relationship, but it's been getting difficult and we've taken some space. I wanted to work out, but not sure if it will. Should I just expect something better for 2026? Libra risings in the house. Libra risings. We've got a lot of Aquarians in this live today, so now we've got some Libra rising energy. Bhavana says it is late, but yesterday only went. You went to sleep yesterday at 7 a.m. Are you becoming and like a day sleeper, a night bird, night owl? Oh, that's how Mike. Yeah, it's helpful to know her placements as well. So you're saying it's a 3-month relationship? When did you start dating? Okay, so your ruler back in September. Okay. So you've got South Node in Aries in the house of relationships, North Node in Libra. I believe we've talked about that sort of South Node in Aries, a lot of focus on relationships. Maybe I think it's interesting because for Libra risings, it's always like a mix of opposites, right? South Node in the house of its relationships and maybe knowing how to be alone in a relationship and how to be self-assertive and independent, and what you're learning about, you're like learning how to maybe actually be in a relationship and be quite like happy with yourself, and like learning what makes what truly like balanced relationships are, I think, by first understanding yourself. Let me actually change this view for a second. We're going to put transits on. So the rule of relationships is Mars. Mars doesn't feel at ease in Taurus because Taurus is the sign of Venus, and Taurus is very like Ferdinand the Bull, doesn't want to fight, just wants to sort of relax and eat good food and take it easy and lay in the field and smell the flowers. But Mars needs to fight. Mars is a fighter. So no matter what sign it's placed in, it will have to like express it somehow. And because Mars rules your house of relationships, it might describe your relationships, and it might also describe the people you attract. Maybe people who let frustration build up and don't express it until it blows up. Maybe people who come across as like passive aggressive, a little bit bullying in a relationship. So there might be a little bit of friction there. I always look at astrology through the lens of like, what can I do? By the way, if you guys want to learn more about astrology, I haven't mentioned it yet, but I am teaching a class, a predictive astrology class. It begins in March. We're going to learn how to use solar returns, annual profections, transits to forecast your future. Come study with me. You can find it at anastasia.astrology.com. A little promotional break. You're saying, yep, we had a big blow up that cost, that's the space on Christmas Eve. Oof. Sorry, your Christmas Eve was full of not so fun energy. Did I tell you about like remediating Mars and working with Mars? Do you lift weights? Have you ever done martial arts? Because there are ways that you can like express this warrior spirit in a constructive way, and you have to acknowledge this planet. Like if you try to avoid conflicts, if your partner tries to avoid conflicts, it's gonna show up in one way or another, and it's gonna stir some drama. Okay, we did talk about it. Your lift and run weekly. Running is less about conflicts, but lifting weights is good. Working with metals, martial arts, Tuesdays are the best day for that. You can also volunteer with military veterans. I would also recommend an exalted Mars candle for you, because that's exalted Mars in Capricorn, trines your natal Mars can be good, or Mars in Scorpio, it can be good as well. So your question was like, will things get better? And that's a tricky one, because we have Saturn and Neptune going into the 7th house, and they are not the loveliest of the bunch. And I'm a Libra rising, so I'm right there. I'm right here with you. I'm looking at them and I'm like, Saturn and Neptune. So, two ways this can show up, right? Saturn and Neptune go into your 7th house and rose colored glasses fall off. You thought you can make things work and you realize, no, I was too optimistic, too idealistic. This person doesn't want to work things out. And um, we are not on the same page. And so bubbles bursting, disappointment, disillusionment, especially January, February is potentially quite likely, because also what was happening in your love life in June, July, August, or maybe even like May, June, July, August. I know you said you started dating in September, so that's kind of Saturn back in Pisces. What was June, July, August like? So one manifestation is maybe a little bit of like melancholy and disappointment, disillusionment. Another manifestation could be that in the next 2 years, you will feel Neptune can suggest that there's maybe like a spiritual relationship coming into your life, or you're seeking like a true soulmate. You're going for something that feels like romantic and dreamy and beautiful, and then Saturn can suggest that you're getting serious about your relationships. And maybe you're like, I know someone who's a Virgo rising, and when Saturn went into her 7th house of relationships, she almost basically she like had like a PDF or something, and she was considering people she's dating through the lens of like, do they fit her expectations? Very Virgo rising of her. So there might also be like Saturn can also increase seriousness. What was happening in your love life the last time Saturn was in Pisces? So from 96 into 98, early 99. So you would have been like 19, right? 18, 20, yeah, 19, 20, 21. It can also suggest commitment. It can also suggest like getting serious. Sometimes it suggests that a partner may be going through a more difficult time. So maybe, maybe you do try to make it work in this relationship, but she might undergo some kind of challenging period. And so relationships will be tested. You were fresh out of college. Were you dating anyone back then? So it's kind of like a complicated transit. Saturn in the 7th does bring commitment, and people get married and people, have children, but it also brings dissolution of relationships that are built on flawed foundations, because Saturn pressure tests the area that it travels through. So if you feel like this relationship is not built to last, it is most likely not built to last, and Saturn will reveal that to you, potentially bringing something that's more serious. But it will also, I think, require the effort. Like Saturn will want you to commit to things and be serious about your dating, and only like like interview people, send them 10 questions before you start dating them, and make sure you're on the same page. So I hope things work out for the better, either with this person or with somebody else soon. You're saying there's lots of passion and chemistry, but we have different ways to handle things, and she's very ambiguous. Okay. You're welcome. Yeah, I hope it works out. To figure out and like communicate, right? Like good What did you say her big 3 is? Capricorn Sun, Virgo rising Cancer Moon. It's nice that you guys have the same moon, that is kissing moons, right? And even Capricorn Sun, the opposites, you are more emotional. She can be maybe a little bit more like, I don't know, duty first, feeling second, Virgo rising. So she's about to wrap up Saturn in the 7th house transit. Yeah, a lot would depend, I think, on like what her Venus is doing, what her Mars is doing. But for that, I would recommend getting a relationship reading so I can do a proper analysis. Well, you're saying I am emotional, and it's good. We need, and she's a full moon too. She's a Capricorn sun, Cancer moon, so she probably has contradictory energy within her. Like she can probably be emotional as well, but maybe sometimes the serious Capricorn energy overpowers it, and so your Cancer, you can probably, like, as a Cancer sun, you can probably like see and understand her feelings really well, but can she understand her own feelings? I don't know. Well, thank you everyone who has been here. Quick announcement, my webinar is Rocks with Rocks is on my website. It includes 20 plus minute breakdowns of every zodiac sign for 2026. So if you want to get that and find out what's coming up, what all of these big changes will mean for you, Venus retrograde, Uranus into Gemini, Saturn into Aries, eclipses, all of that stuff is included. And my year ahead readings discounted as well until the end of January. So you can save $20 with the code 2026 or save $40 by getting a recorded reading in the shop. So check that out. And you're welcome, Julie. See you soon, Bhavana. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, night, wherever you are. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. Bye.